Hello and welcome to my brand new knitting YouTube channel. This is my first episode. It might be my last. I don't know if I'll even upload this, but I thought I would give it a go anyway and just see what happens. I love watching knitting videos on YouTube and I watch all of them, and I think at some point it felt like I just wanted to talk back and respond. So I've had this idea going over in my head for a while, so here I am and I'm gonna try. It's a nice opportunity to really show off what I've been working on and talk about it a little bit. I don't have any real life knitting friends here. I should say I am Australian, but I am currently living in Germany. I'm a pretty new knitter. I started, like a lot of people, during the pandemic as something to really keep my hands and my brain a little bit engaged at a time when I know we were all struggling with going in and out of these seemingly endless lockdowns. And I really got hooked. And so it's a hobby that I'm really passionate about these days, and I really enjoy, and it gives me so much comfort and so much joy. So it's fun to talk about. Because I'm pretty new, I guess I consider myself, well, I'm certainly not a beginner anymore. I think I've gotten a lot better and I've learnt lots of techniques, but then there are other things that I'm quite new on. So maybe I'm an advanced beginner or something, not sure. But if you're looking for watching somebody who is an amazing knitter and knows all the things and can talk about that, this is not the video for you. This may be a little bit more of what not to do. Here's what I did wrong, so that hopefully you don't go through that as well. So that's me. With this podcast, I really don't intend to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to follow the usual pattern of finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions if I have any, and I'll also try and keep it fairly short. As I said, I love watching videos on YouTube of people chatting about their knitting, but there also just is not enough hours in the day to watch all of them. So sometimes for me, I quite appreciate, a pretty short, under 30 minutes. So I'm going to give that a go. We'll see. I haven't tried it yet. That could be ambitious talk. So let's start at the beginning. We have to start with what I'm wearing, which I'm going to totally overheat in this because I've just shut all the windows so it's not too loud in here. But this beautiful thing is the Sanddorn sweater, and you can see it has this beautiful, beautiful yoke, and it's probably the nicest thing I've knit, which is why I really had to wear it today. It's a test by, and the pattern is by, I've got my notes down here, Valentina of Valentina's Knits. Hasn't been released yet, but I assume it's going to be released fairly soon because I finished this maybe a month ago. It's my very first fingering weight sweater, so that was really a labor of love, especially with this beautiful lacy yoke and all these little baubles. I'm not a fast knitter, so it took me a while, but it was good that it was a test because I really had to focus on it and get it done, which I kind of enjoyed that motivation. But I really love it. I've knitted this with Filcolana Anina, which is a superwash yarn, and it's so soft. I adore it. It's really, really soft and really comfortable. I know a lot of people don't really like superwash. I guess I'm really still in that learning process about yarn and trying different yarns and discovering what really works for me and what doesn't. But I didn't have any problems with this stretching or anything. I've worn it quite a few times, but I guess it will be, over the coming months, years even, when I'll see really how it holds up. But I've got a couple of balls of this left over, and I intend to make a baby knit with that because I just think it's the perfect yarn for that. I probably could have gone up in size, and I can't remember what size I actually knit. I will put all the details and links to my Ravelry projects below as well. I'm a pretty tight knitter, and so although I did properly gauge swatch and did all of that, my gauge still ended up being a little bit tight, and so I could do with a little bit of extra positive ease, But then in saying that, I don't mind that it's a little bit close fitting. I quite like it and I'm really happy with it. So that's what am I wearing? Finished objects would be the next one. And just this week I finished another test. I've done a couple of tests and I always say, oh, I won't do any more. It's too much pressure. And then I see some beautiful pattern and I put my name down. But I just finished this beautiful shawl by Hanna at Herbgarden Knitwear. It's called the Creative Flow Shawl. And it was a lot of fun to knit. I followed the pattern. She's done the pattern really, really nicely in that she has a set of instructions that you can follow it to make your shawl look exactly like the sample, but she also includes a recipe so you could play around and put it together. So I knit mine following the instructions. I was not ambitious enough to do the recipe to make it look like the shawl that she designed. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think as I was knitting it, I probably did feel a little bit, okay, but the magic of blocking when it comes to lace is like magnificent, because now that it's come off, I'm just thrilled. And look at the little picot edging, these little pointy bits. They're not all as pointy as they should be because it didn't totally fit on my blocking mat, so some of them didn't get the full pinned out effect, but it's just magnificent. Yeah, and I guess I'll put it on for a minute before I cook myself. So I've got 3 colors in here. So that was also a fun part about this shawl too, is that I didn't want to buy anything new. I just had a look at what's in my stash, what 3 colors kind of, would work together. And yeah, and so I've got the black is Das Mondschaf, which is a German dye, in her Hydra base. Then the kind of white, and the black, it has bled when I've blocked it onto the white. Oh, that's the door, hang on. Okay, I'm back and I've had a costume change because I was going to melt away into a puddle if I kept the top on any longer. So that's nice to know. It's lovely and cozy and warm, and clearly it means I need some more summer knits. I was talking about the shawl, and unfortunately maybe I left it blocking in soaking a little bit too long, because a little bit of the black, the whites or the cream, sorry, isn't so bright anymore. But I'm sure maybe there was something I could have done to prevent that. I don't know. I should have thought of it before I started soaking it, but I didn't, and I'm not too worried, to be honest, anyway. So that is, let me check, what is, terrible podcaster, clearly, is Rellana, Garne, Flotte, Socke, the 4-ply, and the poppy seed, this is the poppy seed colour, is West Yorkshire Spinner's signature 4-ply. Anyway, look out for the pattern. I highly recommend it, and she's got some other beautiful designs as well. That's all my finished objects. I talked about making this reasonably shorter, on the shorter end of videos anyway. And one of the reasons why I think I'll be able to do that is because I'm a pretty slow knitter, so I don't get through that many things so quickly. And also, particularly like over Christmas, when I just did all the gift knitting, I drove myself absolutely batty, having so many whips on the go at one stage that it wasn't, let's just say it wasn't very good for my mental health, and that's what knitting is supposed to be. I do it because I love it and I enjoy it, so I don't want it to be stressful. So these days I'm not necessarily a monogamous, oh my gosh. Anyway, I don't necessarily only knit one thing at a time. I do have 2 whips on the go, but I try not to overwhelm myself with too many things these days. And also both of my whips, I'm not very far along, so there's not too much to show yet. But the first whip is this, which is Poet by Sari Nordland. I'm so excited about knitting one of her patterns. I think she has beautiful patterns, and I want this done yesterday. I can't wait to wear it. It is a sweater with a full lace body. I love lace. I'm really drawn to lace patterns. I just love the look of it. And then I will do 3/4 sleeves in stockinette, I'm pretty sure. So here's what I've done so far. You kind of knit the back, start with the back, doing it flat, and then you join it around, so that I guess that gives you the little bit of shaping in the back. And you can just see a little bit of the lace coming through now. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's going to take me a while though, I'm pretty sure, because I have to follow along with the pattern. Perhaps once I get past the yoke into the main body, maybe it'll become, for me, a little bit more intuitive and I won't need to rely on the pattern so much, but I probably will. So it might take me a while. And of course, we're heading into a season, summer here, where I don't know how much use I'm going to get out of it, maybe evenings. But still, I really, really am excited about it. I am knitting it in, here's a ball, the Rerum Natura Ulysse here, which is a French brand. So it's perhaps a little bit thicker. It's a sport weight yarn, whereas the poet calls for a fingering weight. But because I'm a tight knitter, I got gauge with the recommended needles, so okay, so I'm going with that. And I quite like the fabric it's creating. It looks really nice. The other reason why this pattern might take me a while though is because I find this yarn to be it's not itchy or prickly, but it's not smooth. It's dry in texture, and so it's not just flowing over the needles. I have to, and it gets kind of caught in my fingers a bit, which I guess as the weather warms up too is going to happen more too. So, but I quite like, I love a soft, beautiful yarn, but this is really nice. It feels really good. So that's my first whip. My second whip, which I only started last night, so I have even less to show of this one. Look at that, it's just garter at the moment, is the Petal Party Crop by Samantha Guerin, and I'm knitting it in this alpaca silk by Sandnes Garn. I cast this on because the poet's requiring quite a bit of brain power and following the pattern, the lace chart. I thought, I need something a little bit more mindless to do, especially in the evenings. I really like, to sit watching TV with my husband once my daughter's in bed. So I thought, I need something else that's a bit more relaxing to do. So I saw this pattern. I think it was Summer from Summer Knits, also a good podcast, talked about it, and I really liked the look of it. So it does have a little bit of things going on. It's got these little, kind of eyelet panels down the front and a garter at the back. I don't know. I don't read patterns before I start. I look at the picture and then I just throw myself into it. It's not great. I'm a little bit like that with recipes when I cook too, which is why I often end up with a dish that is missing half the ingredients because I didn't check what I needed. But anyway, I'm so lost now. So I cast this on thinking, this will be a little bit more mindless, but of course I really should have looked for something much more basic because I do still have to follow the pattern. No, it's not true. It's not too difficult. It's fine. But I realized last night as I was knitting this, it's quite dark, the yarn. So it's not a great nighttime knit, but whatever. I've started out and I think the top looks really gorgeous and I love this yarn. It's alpaca silk. So alpaca is generally pretty warm, yeah? But then the silk is like a nice summer, a nice summer yarn. I don't know, does that mean it's gonna be warm? It's gonna be good for summer? I've got no idea. I didn't talk about project bags because I'm not a massive project bag person. This project is in this bag that I've had for years and I can't even remember where I got it from, but it's perfect for just keeping things in. It's perfect for projects, not for taking out and about, but just for having it home. I think maybe a friend gave this to me, but it would be a long time ago. I don't remember. And my other one, the poet, is in this lovely Stephen and Penelope bag which again is this bucket bag, which is also perfect for just having at home and throwing in your project. I got this when I last year thought, oh, I'm totally going to do this Stephen West knit along. What's it called? I've forgotten the name of it now. And the yarns came and I did the first glue and was like, this is so much work. I did not want to spend a whole month working on this one project, and gave up and used the yarn for the Vertices Unite, which I'm glad I did because I love that shawl. Okay, that's it. That's all of my whips. That's all I've got going. I don't have any acquisitions. I'm actually going to be moving back home to Australia in a few months. So in general in my life, I'm trying to have less stuff. I am giving away things. I'm throwing out things. I'm donating things. I'm doing everything I can to try and, reduce the amount of stuff we've got before we have a big international move. We've lived here in Germany for 3.5 years now. So of course you accumulate heaps of stuff during that time. I have a 7-year-old and I don't know, stuff just comes into their orbit somehow. And probably the pandemic as well. We were buying things to do at home. So with that in mind, I'm trying not to buy yarn. But of course I'm moving to, another continent. So part of me also wants to buy all the European yarn so I can take it back home with me. So it's a conflict. But at the moment, I don't have any acquisitions. The last thing I did think I would talk about too is another craft. Why not throw it in there? So if you're only interested in knitting, that's the end of the knitting content. Thank you for coming. Please like, subscribe, do all those things. I don't know, that would be great. But I recently, only in the last few months, started embroidery. And so I thought I might as well chat a little bit about that because I've quite enjoyed it. I say surprisingly because embroidery was not in any way on my radar. But I saw on Instagram, someone was selling a group of patterns to fundraise money for the war in Ukraine. And I thought, oh, they looked really quite cool, some of the patterns. I thought, why not? It's a donation as well. Let's do it. And so one of the patterns that was in that group I gave a go which was this beautiful sunflower. And of course and I've forgotten who it's by, so I will make sure I write below who the pattern's by. I chose this pattern thinking, oh, it looks quite, not too complicated, nice and simple. And now I realize, I know a little bit more about embroidery. I'm like probably starting off with something that has all of these different stitch types, and French knots in here was not the greatest. And, as long as you don't look too closely at this, it looks really good. And I really, really loved it. And it was such a nice thing to do, as something different to knitting. And I think as the weather warms up, sometimes I don't always feel like picking up wool. So this has been a really nice contrast. After I did this one, Clever Poppy, who was organizing the fundraising bundle, was advertising for a free workshop, an Easter workshop. And so I signed. I thought, why not? It's free. I'll give that a go. And made this beautiful bunny blooms pattern, which I did. And I'll try and insert a picture. I don't know how to do that yet, but it clearly can be done, so I'll figure it out. I embroidered it on a little Easter bag for my daughter and gave it to her for Easter, and she loved it. And it's so cute. And I just really enjoyed her style and teaching style. And she was then promoting her Makers Academy, where you learn more about embroidery. And I thought, oh, why not? Let's just jump on this train. So I've just more recently finished one of her patterns, Clever Poppy patterns, called Bloomin' Lovely, I think, which is this one here, which I really like. And I've added the little lettering, which, because it's my first time doing lettering, it's not that clear. So if you can't read it, it says no rain, no flowers. And I was really happy with that. So that's embroidery. I have a lot more embroidery patterns I would like to try. Probably the only thing is I'm not sure how much need I have for embroidery in my life, but certainly I've got these two on display at the moment, and I'm thinking that I'm planning on giving this away to a friend as a gift as well. So I'm going to have a bit of a go maybe at embroidering some things on my daughter's clothing and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I can recommend it, and I can recommend both of these pattern designers as well, whose details I will put below. So that's the end of everything I've got to talk about. Thank you if you've stuck around the whole time. I don't know what else to say, how to finish up. Oh my goodness. I don't even know if as I said at the beginning, I haven't even totally decided if I will upload this, but if you're watching it, then clearly I did. So thanks for coming, and I guess we'll just say see you next time. Okay, bye.